Don't say things that are hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. Don't say things that are hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. My life has been tremendous pain and suffering. It's been a living hell. I'm kinda like Pink Floyd The Wall or Joanne Greenberg and I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. I spent like 20 years in a solitary fantasy land. But when I compare my stepfather to Josef Fritzl, people say the audacity you have to compare yourself to that. I'm being dramatic. I'm being sensationalistic. Metaphorically, I feel like he's Josef Fritzl, but he's not. That's an extreme example. That's hyperbole. Don't compare things with hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. Saying I'm like Otto Warmbier and I was tortured by the North Koreans, that's just not what happened. I was not tortured, I was not put into a vegetative state by the North Koreans. That's not what happened in my life. I'm still alive, I'm still kicking. Am I like Roger Waters or Syd Barrett or Joanne Greenberg, isolated, deprived of interpersonal relationships, life a living hell? Yes. Maybe do I have neurological damage like Syd Barrett? Yes. But I'm definitely not in a vegetative state like Otto Warmbier. So don't compare things with hyperbole, 'cause it only ruins my credibility. If I want you to sympathize with me, don't use hyperbole. When I use these extreme examples, when I use these metaphors, people say, oh, this guy, the audacity of this guy. It's really not okay to compare your stepfather to Josef Fritzl, yourself to Otto Warmbier. So use more grounded in reality, literal examples. Maybe I'm like Roger Waters or Syd Barrett. Maybe I'm like Joanne Greenberg. Maybe I'm like Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. Isolated, deprived of interpersonal relationships, solitary, like decades in a fantasy land. That's true, But when I compare myself to torture victims, that's metaphorically it feels true, but it's not literally true.